That's one heck of a hoist.
Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L. The sun came up and we made it onto the internet. I hope you continue to have a good day. Today I'm bringing you a video on the rising of the shield hero. This time specifically a follow-up to a video I did a few weeks ago listing some changes in a batch of episodes from the Shield Hero anime. We're going to be talking about a rather interesting change that revolves around Raphtalia's tormentor and Raphtalia, and we're going to be analyzing the trope that they made use of in this change, which is why this is part of the TropeXplain sub-series of videos. So, quick recap. In the anime, Raphtalia comes face to face with her tormentor, the fat noble Idol. Through the course of her clash, Raphtalia goes into the "if I killed you, I'd be just like you" line of thought, with some gentle talking down by Naofumi. But the fat noble Idol doesn't like being looked down upon by demi-human scum, so he strikes back at Raphtalia, and then Raphtalia counters and a little mishap happens with a whip on the floor, and the guy falls through the window. Someone even says he might be dead. Spoiler alert, he's not. Anyway, if you watch the differences videos or you just read the light novel or the manga, you know this isn't how it went. Original Raphtalia went all the way. She is the one that pushed this guy through the window. Heck, manga Raphtalia even almost fell out of the window. She didn't even hesitate. Light novel Raphtalia was so sure of herself she was even bringing up points about war and using that to counter Idol's own declarations about war. Anyway, when I look at it overall, what I see is that the anime tried to make Raphtalia more innocent in the eyes of the viewers. Why would they do this? I don't know. Marketing. I think they want to sell Raphtalia as a more appealing female character, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about how they did that, how they tried to absolve Raphtalia of blame or guilt in this situation. See, in regards to that topic, they ended up using a very recognizable trope that did a lot of the heavy lifting, one that on TV tropes is recognized as "hoist by his own petard." I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And here is the first sentence that describes this particular trope. The villain's own weapon or malicious plan is the cause of their downfall and or death. Fun fact, TV trope says "hoist by his own petard" literally means blown into the air by your own bomb. Yeah, that kind of sounds like what happened. Anyway, let's review that situation. Raphtalia corners Idol, but then backs off. Idol, because of his life and history of committing evils against demi-humans, can't handle Raphtalia being above him, and this causes him to strike, to which he gets countered by Raphtalia and her magical sword. This is the first part of the hoist. If it wasn't for his prejudice and him indulging in his prejudice, he would have been fine. The second half of the hoist comes after this and is more conclusive. Idol trips over his whip that hurt countless demi-humans. The whip that became cursed because it soaked up so much demi-human blood. This instrument of torture, his instrument of torture, is what causes him to fall out of the window in the anime. What the anime is telling you is that if Idol wasn't a bad person, he wouldn't have fallen through the window. It's telling you that Raphtalia had no choice but to defend herself. But if Idol wasn't a bad person, she would not have needed to have defended herself. That's the crux of the situation. They created a scenario where Raphtalia had minimal control on the outcome, and they used that minimal control to reduce the blame that could be thrown onto Raphtalia. This is different from light novel Raphtalia in that she just flat out said she was going to off him without any regret and then did it. And if that wasn't enough, the anime goes the extra mile to make sure you know it isn't Raphtalia's fault by having Naofumi go up to her. At this moment in time, Naofumi is effectively framing how you should see this situation. Here you have Raphtalia so traumatized from what she just witnessed that she just fell back and could not do anything other than utter a few words. And then you have Naofumi coming up to her to absolve her of her guilt, to tell her everything is alright, and to tell her that she did nothing wrong. And of course give her that old reassuring pat. The anime made Raphtalia into a vulnerable victim that had to be comforted. And just to contrast with light novel Naofumi, just so we have it for the record, this is what he had to say. When I thought about the things that Raphtalia had told me, how he had tortured demi-humans, it seemed like a fitting end, and this is referring to Idol of course. So just to be clear, anime Naofumi and Raphtalia are not light novel Naofumi and Raphtalia. That's neither good nor bad, it's just different. The reason that I feel comfortable saying it's different and not just saying it's good or bad is because the anime has been consistent with the modified pair and the changes that they've been bringing to these characters. When I saw this in the anime, I didn't see anything bad with this because it made sense with how they presented it so far. For instance, the way they executed the trope, I think, was really good. I think it was solid. They set out with a mission to make Raphtalia more innocent, and I think they accomplished it with the way they implemented it. But knowing that there is another alternative does inform you of the anime team's intention. For instance, seeing Raphtalia crumble after Idol falls and then comparing her to resolute light novel Raphtalia, the first thing that she does is go check on Naofumi's injuries after Idol falls, makes you realize that the anime wants to make Raphtalia more vulnerable and more innocent. You can't argue against this statement because this is the exact reality. Instead of giving you the grayer Raphtalia that the light novel has, the one that accepted that Idol was a terrible person that ruined the lives of many demi-human children and women, you get an idealist Raphtalia instead that thinks that a man so evil would change his stripes. The advantage that you get with idealist Raphtalia is that you get to have the character have a different degree of virtue and also maintain her innocence even though it's naive. It's an interesting choice, but me being the cynic I am, I think that choice came more from the anime team wanting to make Raphtalia more marketable and more easy to handle, as opposed to enriching her character with some shades of grey. But you know what? Props to the anime team for selling the idealist Raphtalia. Like I said, I didn't spot any big problems with having that be the way that they resolved everything in the anime. And at this point, I should note the elephant in the room, that being Naofumi. While all is well and good with Raphtalia, Naofumi is really the weird one. But given that the anime has been toning down Naofumi's worst qualities, Naofumi being the voice of reason, as unbelievable as it is compared to light novel Naofumi, his role here in the episode didn't seem that outlandish to me. Although it's still funny to consider him being the voice of reason when it comes to revenge. To close off the video and to return to the hoist by your own petard, that idea of Idol being destroyed by his own doing is preserved in both iterations, anime and light novel. In both iterations, Idol gets angry and unleashes a monster, the giant T-Rex, and gets promptly squished. Which I don't know about you, but that sounds like one heck of a hoist. And this ends up opening up a very interesting note when you compare the two. The anime effectively reuses the same trope twice as a mechanism for the same character's downfall while preserving Raphtalia's innocence, whereas the novel uses the trope once along with Raphtalia seeking to avenge her kin and putting in a point about war. So for me, the anime ends up being just a little bit more redundant, and the light novel ends up with a morally grayer Raphtalia, which I personally like a little bit more. Right, so my ultimate question for you, which Raphtalia do you like the most? Do you prefer the more idealistic anime Raphtalia or the more grey light novel Raphtalia? That said, overall I think it was very interesting to see how the anime tried to take some blame off of Raphtalia by pinning most of the blame of Idol's demise on himself, even though at the end of the day, Idol was just gonna screw himself. There's been a lot of changes to the Shield Hero anime so far compared to the original light novel, but this one was definitely one of the more interesting ones because this is one of the ones that is kind of adjusting a character's, well, character, and it's just going to be interesting to see where they go with this. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought down below. Let me know if you got an answer to that question of which Raphtalia you like more, and let's close it there. Till next time, I hope you have an absolute